Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's your boy, Mr. Box Office from Mr. Box Office TV, back with another show for you today. And on the show today, this is going to be a show of respect to our captain, Heung-Min Son, who decided to leave Tottenham Hotspur. Massive news. First part of the press conference earlier today, I think it was early morning, it was announced by Heung-Min Son he was going to be leaving Tottenham Hotspur. And with a very, very difficult decision like that to be made, he's now going to leave Tottenham Hotspur. And now the challenge is now, what is Tottenham Hotspur going to do to replace him now? So welcome to the show of all shows, the Marmite of the Tottenham fan base, Mr. Box Office TV, Mr. Box Office himself. And through this, you can see that there is a new era coming at Tottenham Hotspur. You see now what you've seen in the previous couple of days. You've seen certain players that might be leaving right now, like reportedly Richarlison, hopefully. Now Heung-Min Son deciding to leave. And you can see now with the Thomas Frank era upon getting going right now, us beating Arsenal in a friendly, we have to add we have to really emphasize it was only a friendly. Yeah, people can say it wasn't a friendly of sorts, but it was a friendly in the end. You can see now that there are decisions being made by the hierarchy and players as well as such forth to move this team forward. You can see now that there's a new era dawning on us, and this has now really come full face to everyone now, with Heung-Min Son deciding to leave Tottenham Hotspur. And this is a guy that's spent a long time at Tottenham Hotspur. We have to remember, more than 454 games he's played for Tottenham Hotspur. Back in September 2015, he made his debut at Tottenham. Came from Bayer Leverkusen. There was some good promise from this guy. He had some good promise in terms of his partnerships with other players, and players had a very, very, very complimentary about him as well. And he was growing in stature in South Korea as well. Now you see him in South Korea. Now he's the icon in South Korea as the captain of the national team and an icon in South Korea in terms of football. And so he's come to Tottenham and he's endeared himself to the Tottenham fan base. So much so that a lot of people right now will get very emotional about it, especially now he's one of our successful captains. Even if he didn't really do too much in that final, he's one of our most successful captains the last 2 decades, us winning the Europa League last season. But it's kind of a sad moment. Yep, it's a huge respect to Heung-Min Son for what he has decided. It must have been a very hard decision, even though it kind of was an end of a chapter of such forth after him winning the Europa League. And it was kind of an end of a chapter, really saying that he needs to move on. I think that's what you can gather from the statement that he had at the beginning of the beginning of his statement. So really, you can see that there's someone that has really realised that maybe, and he did say it in his statement, that he needs to go to a new environment to, test himself, challenge himself. And I think that's what's been some of the criticism of Son of the recent seasons, last couple of seasons at that, especially when Harry Kane left. I feel that he was looking for, he was kind of dwindling a lot and he needed a new challenge. I think he could have needed to move on a little bit sooner, to be honest with you. And that's, he's become, the new challenge needed to happen for him so he could really try and sort out him as a player, because let's be honest, unfortunately for Heung-Min Son, he's really gone down. He really wasn't the shadow of himself the last 3 or 4 seasons. I think since Harry Kane left, you could see that Heung-Min Son's really gone downhill a little bit, and you see his powers has really dwindled. But it's not just the fact that he's leaving now. The challenge for Tottenham Hotspur, the challenge is right now, what are Tottenham Hotspur going to do to replace Heung-Min Son in the squad? Is it what some people do feel? Would it be Mattis Tell, his replacement? Now, if that is the case, I'm not going to be happy. I won't be happy at all. And with Alderbear on the other side, and then you've also got obviously Kudos, who is someone that I would say I can feel very comfortable with. We can improve him and get him more consistent and get him back to not just getting back to, but improve him from his first season at West Ham. You've got a good player there. But when I look at my other wingers, Heung-Min Son was going downhill anyway. In respect to him, like I said, this is a respectful video show for him. Absolutely. But when you look at the other wingers we've got, Brendan Johnson, who by fact is more decorated than Harry Kane at Tottenham Hotspur. Well, let that sink in, because of that Europa League he won in 2 seasons. He's done that in 2 seasons. Harry Kane couldn't do it in how many seasons? But still, not a good footballer. Great, he's good finding getting into the right places to score, but not a good footballer, not a good winger. Can't get it past his man. Alderbear, as you saw against Arsenal, struggled massively to get past his man. Really was he just didn't have the guile to get. He didn't have the invention to do it at all. Then you got Mattis Tell. Still doesn't help at all. In fact, as to see if he has got the pace. He sometimes gets past players. So it's just not impressive enough at all. So then you got, I think it's, I don't want to get his name wrong. Well, there's Solomon as well, who was on loan from Leeds. Flattered to deceive. He's actually he does his job. He does his job, but really, does he have the quality that we need? No, he hasn't. And then you're just going on to youngsters. And now I'm just trying to get the squad up right now. And I mean, it's just really, it's not very good at all right now for Tottenham. You got Brian Gill, who's injured right now. You got Yang Min Hook as well right now. That, let's be honest here again, still needs development. So the only winger right now we've got, and now you've got Heung-Min Son who's leaving. That is pretty decent. That you could say, yeah, if with a little bit more coaching, a good environment, and you can see a little bit of coaching, and Yaman Hook, a little bit of coaching from some of our coaching staff, and Thomas Frank, Kudus could get back to form and maybe be better, a version that you saw at West Ham his first season. So that's the only winger, Kudus, the only winger I'm happy with right now. Well, I'm comfortable with right now. All the other wingers are awful. They're average. And that's the problem at the moment. We've got no wingers whatsoever. Don't even get me started with the forwards. Don't get me started with the forwards. And this is my problem right now. But before we get into our wingers, we need to still talk about Heung-Min Son. And I think it's fitting to start looking at some things some memories of Heung-Min Son, some of his best moments. And firstly, what I really want to do is introduce some stats to some of the things that Heung-Min Son has achieved through his time at Tottenham Hotspur. Before I do that, though, I do want to say hello to a few people in the chat. Big up to the Hotspur Hood. Thank you very big up to you. I hope you're doing well. Big up to Scott M. Big up to Lisa O. Big up to you. Good evening. And big up to E54 _ Ultra. Who's the bigger legend for Spurs, Son or Kane? Now that's an interesting one. Some people will say it will be Harry Kane, but if you look at it outside, take your Spurs hat off, and a neutral, you've got to say Heung-Min Son's one of the legends because he was the captain, wasn't he? But he didn't play. He didn't start against Manchester United in the Europa Cup final. So really, it's kind of it's a difficult one. I would say the person that's won the trophy is the one that's the legend. I mean, I think both of them have got their detractors and certain positives to and negatives to being the legend. Because at the end of the day, Kane couldn't get the job done at Tottenham. He couldn't get the job done, even though he scored as much goals and many goals that he did. You know, he still couldn't get the job done, and that was the problem. Son, I mean, there was something that I think Alice Gold brought up, that he was the voice when a lot of the fan base were very much against the ownership, very much against the manager, and there was lots of negativity in the fan base, and he was the kind of the shield to say, no, we need to carry on. That's what a little bit of what was Alistair Gold, I think it was Alistair Gold, one of the journalists said, was Son's influence on the team during a very difficult time when a lot of people were growing frustrated with the team, frustrated with the previous manager, Ange Postecoglou, and Son was that man to really push a voice, a positive voice, to keep the Spurs players going and keep the motivation of the Spurs players to get through the season and get through to obviously winning Europa League last season. Now, listen, Son has some fantastic moments. Absolutely. You would say certain things where you think there was opportunities for him to go because Tottenham Hotspur weren't really matching his ambition. And I think that's where the frustration was for Harry Kane. But it's a difficult. I mean, as the seasons went on, especially I think last season of Conte, that's when you started to see the downfall of Son. At the beginning, it was well publicised. His first season at Tottenham, he had a bit of a mixed season, even though he did okay for a debut. We obviously heard in the middle of his second season that he was looking maybe to leave Tottenham Hotspur at the end of that season because he wasn't feeling settled. Luckily, with the influence of Pochettino or his teammates, he stayed and he grew. He grew with the coaching of Pochettino, Richard Pochettino, his coaching staff, and his really good connection with Dele Alli, Lamela, and ironically, Eric Lamela did a tribute for him where he was giving some kind words about him working with him and working alongside him as his teammate. And that was just a highlight of Heung-Min Son. He was a good partnership. I think one of the partnerships that he'd had that by Leverkusen, I think it was a Turkish guy. Turkish player. I can't remember. I think he was at AC Milan. I think it is. I can't remember his name now. I think it because it was a very good. I'm just trying to find it partnership with. It's just one of those things that I remember. I think it was content. I can't remember his name. At Bayern Leverkusen, I know that he had a really good. He was he had some very good words, very kind words, and for Heung-Min Son, and I can't remember the player. He was a but it will come back to me anyway. It will come back to me. I think it was one of the Inter Milan, or I think he's playing for Inter Milan now or AC Milan. I can't remember now. I will find it. But he was very renowned for good partnerships at his previous club, and he you know, that's what happened at Tottenham in the end. Obviously, Harry Kane. Oh yeah, here we go. It's Hakan Kakulu. I'll just have to. I'm going to have to. Let me do this. Right. Because he said some really kind words about him. And I remember it. Hakan Kakulu. I don't think I've pronounced it right at all. So I do apologise if I did. If I have pronounced his name wrong. But that gave us a little bit of a highlight of what Heung-Min Son's qualities were as a player. He comes in at Tottenham Hotspur, and he had a bit of a mixed season. Let's be honest here, a very mixed season, I have to say. And you know, he, but you know, he grew within that season as well. You know, he had his struggles, but he grew within the season as well. Harry Kane was growing, and then you had Dele Alli in the team, Nasser Chadli in the team as well. So he's kind of challenged with those. But one of the highlights of that season, I think, for me, was his tenacity, him growing, also that goal that he scored against Chelsea away from home, that unfortunately we completely let go of a 2-goal lead. He's shown his his progress with I think it was the second goal, I think it was. And this is it. This is it. I think he's done. He got through that season, and then it was then the second and third season when he really started to grow, and you saw some really started to see some good stuff in his football, and then he saw partnerships. Obviously, you had Ericsson that was really helping the situation as well, because Ericsson was the person that could put a good ball through and creator. And ironically, it was when he left, it was kind of like when things started to collapse a little bit around us, especially under Pochettino. But you saw his his strength, the way he was taking on players with his pace and his growth. It was just very good in that sense. And I really, he was becoming a very exciting player, especially that partnership with Dele Alli. You can see that they were growing. They were growing as it was really, the partnership was really growing really well. And you could see a good partnership with Eric Lamela as well. But there was one funny moment, I think it was, when there was a penalty, I think, and they were arguing who was going to take the penalty. I can't remember who ended up taking the penalty. I can't remember if it was missed or not. I can't remember that now. But it was one moment I remember between the two players, and it's shown that there was, there was a lot of competitiveness in the squad, but you could see that it was very well connected. Pochettino was very well renowned to have a small squad. Very well renowned to have a small squad. He wanted always a small squad, and that really shown with the squad that we had. It was very well connected, and there was good partnerships around the pitch. Obviously, you had your Alderweireld and Vertonghen. You had your wing backs in Rose and Carl Walker, Peter and Carl Walker. Then you had your midfield. At the time, it was Dyer and Dembele. That season. I mean, yeah, obviously Pochettino had a couple of seasons before him, but it was Dyer and in his second season, and then Dembele, and then you had Ericsson, and then you had the three in Dele Alli, Kane, and maybe Son or Chadley as well. So yeah, it's and I mean, one of the things that I would say is moments, because I want to talk about his moment. I want to talk about his stats first. Let's talk about his stats, because that's what I want to talk about. That's what I want to talk about first, because I think I've kind of sidetracked into memories just to unwind and stuff. But let me just go into his stats, because this is something that I wanted to bring up. Let me just bring that up. So let me just bring that up right now. So I brought this up. Here we go. So if you guys can see that, right. Okay. So 454 games, 173 goals in that time, 101 assists. 2001, 2020, the 2021, 2022 season Premier League Golden Boot winner. 2020 FIFA Pugas Award and lifted Tottenham's first trophy in 17 years. Now, this person says he leaves as a legend. I mean, that's something that we, I don't know whether I can call him a legend in that so forth, but I think there's an argument that he should be a legend because of what he won. But that shows you the dedication of Heung-Min Son, and the fact that he made the decision today. And I think he knew it was just time that he needed to leave. You've got to have huge respect for Heung-Min Son. You've got to have huge respect for him, huge respect for the fact that he decided, he knew that this was the right time to go because he needed to challenge himself. And it's pretty, it's pretty respectful and fair play to him. I can't have a go at somebody that's decided, which is good for the club, challenges the club now to find somebody that can replace him. To help the team go forward, to move forward. And yeah, it just helps. It does help. And yeah, that's one of the things I just need to say, just to respect the fact that he made that decision. And he thought about, he didn't think about himself. When he left it, he thought about the team as well. And you can see that some of the players were very disappointed. Some of the players are very disappointed, which shows you that the team there's a little bit of weakness there. They need familiarity in the team. When really they don't need familiarity, they need a bit of a shake. And Heung-Min Son knew that this team needs a shake. And he made the right decision for the team as well as himself to move him forward as a player and move the team forward. So it is what it is. I think that's where we got to respect him. Yes, it was the right time for him to go because he was getting worse as well. But I think we got to respect. I don't want to look like I'm bashing him because I don't think that's respectful at all. For somebody who's given us 10 years when other players would have left. So let's be honest here, other players would have left and gone somewhere else. So yeah, we have to be respectful. We have to be respectful to it. And yeah, it's a good. It shows this is a new era ahead of us, and Tottenham Hotspur got to really make the most of it right now. Big up to everybody in the chat, by the way. Big up to everybody in the chat who's watching. Lisa says, imagine if Harry Kane hadn't started the Champions League final, we would have won it. He'd be considered a bigger legend still. They participated in the running up, still counts. Yeah, I think that was a decision that really was a very hard decision for Pochettino, and he in the end he made the wrong decision. When you look at what the previous manager did, Ange Postecoglou did last season with Heung-Min Son in the Europa League final, he made the difficult decision to put Heung-Min Son on the bench, and ultimately that decision influenced the team to go on to win the Europa League. So one manager was decisive, one manager wasn't decisive, and that's the margins that is to winning, really. And He didn't go with his heart. He went for the right thing, and that's it. And that's what made him a winner. Yeah, we can look at the whole game, look at the teams we were playing, but he still got us over the line. And Heung-Min Son now is a winner at Tottenham Hotspurs. So yeah, absolutely, I can see your point. I can see your point. I think really a lot of people said that Moira should have played. Lucas Moira should have played, but there was kind of politics around Harry Kane playing. Harry Kane, the poster boy, and yeah, he would have been a legend if he didn't play and we won the final. We would have won the Champions League. And I wonder what Arsenal fans would have thought of that. Oh my gosh, imagine what that sink in. Let that sink in. Yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Like I said, if we beat PSG in that Super Cup, what a picture would that be for Arsenal fans? A team that beating them in the Champions League quarter final or semi final, beating them in the semi final, beating them in the semi final, and we go on to beat PSG. That would be, oh gosh, you don't know what football does to you. It doesn't. You just don't know what football does to you. Oh my gosh, that would be unbelievable, unbelievable. And some of the reactions from some of the rivals would be funny. It'll be funny as it'll be so funny. It'll be like watching a comedy show. Honestly, some of the reactions, honestly, and I think some of them would really go wild out. Let's be honest here. You know what I mean? Honestly, Arsenal not winning one trophy for quite a while now, and we just won one of the outdone them in terms of winning Europa League and probably winning the Super Cup as well. If because there is a chance there. But moving on, but something that I do need to speak about. Big up to everybody in the chat, by the way. Big up to you. Big up to DR Spurs 82. Big up to you. Big up to Sleepy Morgar. Thank you for your respectful retrospective. The other side is taking turns crapping on Son. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to get into anybody else. I'm not going to get into anybody else's thing. They say what they need to say. Listen, I think Son needs to go anyway. But I think today he earned a lot of respect from me from what his statement. He knew he needs to leave for his own good. He did it for his own good, and he done it for the team. And you could see that he's doing it for the team because he knows that he's not good enough at the moment. He needs to challenge himself, and he needs to go into a new environment. So you have to respect him for what he's done. Yeah, he hasn't been great. He wasn't great last season. He hasn't been great for the last couple of seasons. He should have left a long time ago. But he recognizes that this is the end of a chapter, and he needs to move on. And you have to give him fair play for that. Pick up to Dan Hotspur Hood. Pick up to Dan the Hotspur Hood. He said it. I gave him a little cheeky call. I said to him, I saw his thumbnail. I said, "Oh, Dan, you got in there first. You got in there first." Because I was thinking that straight away as well. I was thinking that. And obviously, the main event's got better things to do with his time sometimes, because it's a nice sunny day outside. I'm not going to sit inside. I'm going to go out and hear some soca music. But that's another story. But I was just sitting there thinking, I was thinking that I could have done the show this morning, and got my thoughts in a little bit quicker. But big up to him anyway. Subscribe to the Hotspur Hood, Dan E. Big up to him. But it's only joking with him anyway. But for me, for me, I think you got to respect the man. You have to respect the man for what he's done for the club, staying, being loyal. Because other players would have not done that. I think he should have lost. I think he should have left sooner. Yeah, he should have left sooner. Yes, but on what we saw today, what he's done today and what his comments were today, and it obviously was very, very difficult for him to leave. you know, you have to respect him. You have to respect Heung-Min Son. You have to respect him, and you know, fair play to him for doing what he did. You know, and Tottenham have to move forward and find somebody to, because like I said, I'm not happy with that front line. I'm not happy, but we will get into that in a bit. We will get into that in a bit because we need to get into that a little bit anyway. Big up to Brian. Big up to Brian. Big up to Brian, who's in the chat. Big up to you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I wouldn't say. Yeah, I think it's a respectful day for him. I think it's sad to see. I wouldn't say it's a sad day. I think it's but a respectful day for Son, and sad that to. I think it's sad for some fans. Yeah, I can understand it because some people have got, you know, affiliation with him more than others. I wouldn't say it's a sad day because I think he needs to move on anyway. But reflective, I think it's a reflective day for me, reflecting on the memories that he gave us, which is a good segue to the next segment. But I don't want to get into that too much. But big up to Brian, big up to him, Brian. 3 trophies in one season, no matter the significance. Happy life, another one for the cabinet. Yep, absolutely. I don't know about it. Well, I think for me, I think for you've got to look at it like this. He's our captain. We won Europa League. Legend. Can you call him a legend? Or can you call Harry Kane a legend for not winning anything? This is a difficult one. I've got to be honest. It's a, you know, because a legend, you got to do more in your career. I think you got to do to cement it. You need to win a trophy, and then when you're a player, you can, you know, reincarnate yourself and still be relevant in the team. Did Heung-Min Son do that towards the end of his career? And I would say that he's kind of gone down. He went really downhill last season. Harry Kane was still good, even though he didn't win anything. So it's either you go for the one that was consistent every year and got better every year and was able to transform his game like Harry Kane did at Tottenham, or you go for the guy that has won the trophy, that a massive trophy in the European trophy in the Europa League, that has been the best that we've done for the last 2 decades. So it's either or, and this is the thing. I think it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one because then I called Harry Kane a loser for not winning any trophies. I called him a loser for not winning any trophies. So at Tottenham, so it's that's where the challenge is really, because a legend is a big word. It's a massive word to say about a player. A legend's got to be something of historical. But I guess when you talk about historical, but then Harry Kane scored. It's been our best goal scorer for the last how many decades? So it's a challenge really to start figuring. You could go for you could decide which one is. You could say either one is a legend in one way. It depends on what your side's on, really. That's the thing. So I think it's a good debate to have. I would say he gave us our best years and is leaving on a high. Yeah, absolutely. But before he goes downhill, he'll kill it in the MLS. Yeah, you know what? This is why I respect him, Lisa. This is why I respect him. Absolutely. I you know, and I mean, John Saigon just says it here. He says not sure I understand your point out, Brian. As technically, Werner won the Europa League, and he's not a legend in any way. And this is the thing. This is the thing. This is the difference between the whole thing. You see Harry Kane, even though he didn't win anything at Tottenham, he was consistent and got better, and he was able to redevelop his game. Son was going downhill from the thing Conte last season, and then onwards. So this is the thing. I think this is where there's a pros and cons to the two players. That's the thing. There's no binary. There are arguments for and there's arguments against it. And if I go with my logic, Son's the legend because he's won something. That's it. And he's won our best trophy in the last how many decades? But there are so many arguments for Kane as well, even though he didn't win anything at Tottenham. So it's a difficult one. I mean, it's a good segue, this. It's a good segue because we're going to talk about Heung-Min Son's best moments at Tottenham Hotspur. Big up to everyone in the chat, by the way. Big up to everyone in the chat. Really appreciate that you're watching today as it is a Saturday night, and you could be doing something else. You could be out. You could be out. It was a nice sunny day outside. And it's really appreciated that you're watching the main event, the Professor of Truth and Entertainment, the ratings killer, talk his truth and talk about someone that has made a very, very difficult decision of leaving Tottenham Hotspur and gave us a lot of good years, including remember the solo goal against Chelsea where he takes on a few players, and then this is at Wembley. And that's why I think it was very, very impressive. I've got to be honest, at Wembley. And he goes past a few players. I think he goes past Jorginho. And actually, let me just have a look. Now, let me just do this before. But I'm going to put myself in mute just in case this goes on loud because it gives me a bit of an idea. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So, yeah, I think, he goes past a few players. Let me just go back here. It goes past a few players. It goes past and Jorginho, goes past Douglas Luiz. I think, no, it's not Douglas Luiz. He goes past a few players, and it's a beautiful goal. It's a beautiful goal. I think that's when we beat Chelsea, I think 3-1, I think it was. And yeah, it was just it was one of those moments where you saw Heung-Min Son really progress. He really was developing into a really good player. He was becoming the main man, really. You know what I mean? And I think this was a season. This was the season that we were in the Champions League final. This was the season we got into the Champions League final. And then I think this is where our form turned. I think it just turned. I think that year in the league. So that was the thing. It was it's very interesting that, to be honest with you. So that was one of his moments that I remember. Another moment that I remember was that goal that he scored against Burnley. And you know what was so amazing about that goal? I was there. I was actually there. And it was like, wow, this is under Mourinho. And it just came out the blue. We beaten Burnley that day quite convincingly, I think it was. And the highlight was Son Heung-Min going past so many players. He dribbled past them. It was kind of like one of those moments that you out of body was sitting there thinking, am I actually here seeing this? I'm actually seeing this. I'm like, and he's sitting there thinking, wow. And it was just amazing how he did it. Just dribble past how many players, and then he went back of the net, just goes, then shoots it right at the back of the net. One of the best moments for me, that Heung-Min Son for me, and being there was even more really good. It was really good watching him. So you got to keep hydrated, guys. So you have to keep hydrated. But yeah, it's just one of those moments that I remember vividly, because I was luckily there. And that's why sometimes it's good to be at football matches, because you see great moments like that. Great moments, really good moments like that. And I mean, yeah, he is definitely, that was a great moment. His moments against Man City. He was a form for Man City, wasn't he? I think Man City are very, very happy that he's gone, definitely. Because that was he was a thorn in Man City's side. I mean, he caused Man City always problems in attack. That game, that influence game, I think it was second game in the stadium, new stadium, Tottenham Hotspurs Stadium, and he scores a goal, the goal to just get us ahead in the tie. In the semi, I think it was quarterfinals of the Champions League. And then I can't remember the actual goal. I think it was the year. Oh, let me go back. So it's Champions League, Tottenham playing Man City in the Champions League semi-final, Champions League. There we go. It's just memories. Champions League, quarterfinals. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to everybody who's watching. By the way, just reminiscing about Heung-Min Son. Quarterfinals against Man City. Here we go. So here we go. Right, so here we go. I mean, it was during the time Man City. Right, let's just move that just so it doesn't. I think it was that time at Man City. Let me just go back here. Here we go. Here we go. Going back. And I think he played. No, he did. Yeah, he scored the first goal. It's Sterling that scored first in the second leg, and then Son scored after that and scored again. And he was a very massive incident, wasn't he, in that game? I remember that, and I think we got ahead. In the game, and it was because of. But Tottenham Hotspur we conceded a few goals back, and then really it was Levente's goal that was the winner in the end. But he was a thorn in Man City's side. I think he helped us beat Man City when Nuno was in charge as well. I think he was huge influence on us getting Champions League with Conte as well. He was a huge influence on that as well. So he's a huge influence. And another thing as well that was a huge influence with Thomas, with Heung-Min Son, was his partnerships. an infamous partnership with the one Harry Kane. And listen to this. The pair registered a record 47 combinations. Son scoring 24 goals to Kane's 23 in a prolific two-season period of 2021 season and 2021-2022 season. And they linked up 21 times for goals. Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Son became the first. Yeah, I mean, I'll go into that a little bit later anyway. But yeah, but that just highlights his way of combining with players, and he was just that type of player. He was that player that was really, really impressive as well in terms of connecting with lots of players, and that's what we're going to miss. That's what we're going to miss. He didn't really do well with Perisic, though. That wasn't a very good. Oh my gosh, that didn't end up very well at all, didn't it? But yeah, in the end, yeah, it's some good partnerships Son did have. So yeah, that was one of his positives, definitely. Man City worst nightmare, breaking the record with the combination with Harry Kane. His 30-minute, remember that 30-minute 4 goals. I think he scored 4 goals in that game. I think it was against Southampton, 5-2. And this is during COVID. And the partnership, you could see the partnership between Heung-Min Son and Harry Kane. And I think that's where it really grew. It really grew between the two of them. Harry Kane being the provider, being someone that was replacing mainly Eriksen with his creative spark, being more creative rather than scoring goals and coming deep to create. And, remember the combination of Harry Kane, Son, and Gareth Bale. I need to emphasize, I didn't like Gareth Bale then, because I thought Gareth Bale wasn't the best there. He was. I mean, let's be honest. I will take Gareth Bale over some of these strikers that we got right now. I've got to be honest, and the wingers. Oh my gosh! But again, I'm trying to keep it on a nice note because this is about Heung-Min Son and him leaving and giving a good tribute to him. But that I've got to be honest. I find it very difficult to be optimistic now that I know Heung-Min Son needs to go, but I am dreading the fact we've got Matisse Tell, Alderbear, Johnson. Oh, listen, I can talk about defense looking good, but oh my gosh, we need some. The attacking talent is terrible at Tottenham right now. And no other than seeing what we're seeing right now with our attacking talent. Solanke, bloody, oh my gosh, that below average with Richarlison. Emil Heskey with Richarlison. Don't get me started with him. Do not get me started with him. Oh my gosh. But big up to everybody in the chat, by the way. Big up to everybody in the chat, because you could be doing something else. You know what I mean? Big up to John Seagon. Big up to you. Him to go after winning a trophy. However, do you think he wants to leave? I'm not sure he really does. Well, he said that that he wanted to leave anyway, because he's he wants to develop his go on and try and go to a new environment to try and make himself better, because he doesn't feel that he's getting any better at Tottenham, which pretty much is what he's saying really from the statement. Big up to Nikita. Much love to you, Sonny. Thank you. Good luck, you top footballer. Number 17th in the list of top scorers in the Premier League. Yeah, I think there was something like that. I think there was a stat about that as well. I haven't got that up. I think that's the thing. I mean, I absolutely agree with this. Absolutely agree with this. Thank you, box office. Nice to listen. Yeah, but appreciated. Really appreciated. But yeah, he did show a lot of loyalty, and I think that's where we got to respect him. Absolutely, we have to respect him, John. We have to. But like I said, there are some fantastic moments that we see with Heung-Min Son. There are good moments out there, and I think there's some moments that people will say, "Yeah, great moments out there, really good moments." And it is what it is, really. You know what I mean? It's just, it is what it is. And now he's leaving. Now it's sad in one way for some fans. Some fans, it's time to move forward, and I think with some of these moments, it's good to cherish them, especially the partnerships that he had. Everyone remembers lockdown and Heung-Min Son and Harry Kane at Old Trafford ran riot during their 6-1 victory against Manchester United, which was weird because it highlighted the quality of when he had good partnerships with Harry Kane and Son. Harry Kane, when he was dancing around as well, dancing on the dance floor. I think there was a big headline when we beat Man United 6-1, and you saw him dancing, Heung-Min Son. So yeah, he's shown a lot of promise. He did show a lot of promise. It did show a lot of promise, but unfortunately, we all know what happened with Mourinho, and Mourinho didn't really work out really well at all. Him getting sacked before the cup final in the Carabao Cup. So yeah, it was a bit a bit sad that, and we didn't go on to achieve. And who knows? We could have achieved the Carabao Cup with Mourinho, and Harry Kane would have got his trophy, and the rest could have been history. So it's a weird one. It's definitely a weird one, that one. But yeah, that was a formidable partnership with Harry Kane. Absolutely formidable partnership with Harry Kane. And I think that's when you could see that he was regressing after Harry Kane left. When he left for Bayern Munich, he ended up winning I don't want to get this wrong. A Puskas Award for his superb goal against Burnley, which I just mentioned, was one of his best moments, definitely as well. So he has some really good moments, winning the Golden Boot in the 2021-22 season as well. That was another of his best moments as well. Obviously, winning the Europa League is another one as well. So he had some great moments, great partnerships. Dele Alli, to mention Harry Kane, obviously. I think he was a good teammate for a lot of players as well, like the likes of Dele Alli, Davis, Ben Davis, who I think he did really get on with really well, and ended up being captain and captaining the side to winning the Europa League as well. So really showing why a lot of people have got a lot of time for Heung-Min Son, and good luck to him. Good luck to him. Like I said, fair play to him for his statement, and respect to him. 100% respect to him. But that's a good segue to this statement, this part of the show, where I need to talk about this because we need to talk about this. Who is Tottenham going to replace Heung-Min Son with? Well, Son Heung-Min with, and this is a question that I struggle with right now because it looks like it could be Mattis Tell, and for me, this just doesn't feel right at all. In Tottenham Hotspur, as you saw in the friendly against Arsenal, we were toothless up front. Absolutely toothless. You had Richarlison miss an open goal. He couldn't score his goal even if he tried. And you've got only one, like I said, that I would rather have right now in my team is Kudos. That's it. No one in my front line I want at the moment. I'll get rid of all of them. Unfortunately, now we can't get rid of Mattis Tell because Mattis Tell is now here permanently. But now you see now how bang average our front line is, not including Kudos, who still needs to improve and get back to form. So you see how, this is the problem. This is the problem. But, it's one of those things that I think is just, it's sad. It's very, very sad to see. It's very, very sad to see our front line. I mean, obviously, defense, he's worked on very well in pre-season. Thomas Frank with the coaching staff, you can see the progress that's happening at the moment. You see, but I don't think there was a lot of work that needs to be done in that defense because they are good players. They just were played wrong in the previous system with the previous manager. When you play the defenders right, you see a very competent defense. And you play the midfielders right, you see a good midfielder. Now, with the inclusion of Paulinho, who I was trying to rattle my brain, who is he playing alongside? And never guess who would have played, who was playing alongside Lukic, who I've been for Fulham, who I was so impressed with when he was playing for Fulham with Sanderberg. So I think he's a very solid player, Lukic as well. Another player that I think Tottenham Hotspur could have got, Sanderberg or a Lukic, who worked very well alongside a Paulinho. But I think the more likelihood would be, I think this guy will end up being captain, even though, right, okay. Listen, I've got to stop calling him a Juventus reject, but I think I do think it would end up being possibly. I think it's between two players. I think it's between the captaincy. I think the captaincy is between two players. One will be Romero, and another one will be Bentancur. And the reason why I say Bentancur, he's got a bit of leadership qualities in him. And I think he'll look at him and think he's got a little bit of influence in the team. Another one that would be Maddison, but Maddison, I think there's rumours that he might leave. So it'd be interesting. It'd be very, very interesting. But obviously, he's got to make a decision on the captaincy very, very soon because obviously we've got the game against PSG in the next couple of weeks. But I think it's going to be between those three, maybe three players. I think it won't be Van der Ven because he's not always available all the time because of his injuries. Porro, I think he's a bit too incitable. You're not looking at anyone in the front line. I'm definitely not looking at any of the players like your Burvals or Archie. You're not going to do them. You're definitely not going to do Sarr. So you're kind of stuck for choice at the moment. So I think you got to look at those more experienced ones. And it's either going to be Romero, and oh boy, him being captain. Oh my gosh, that's a frightening thought. So I don't know whether it will just ignite some fear, some more heat on him. And I think I just think it's not a recipe for disaster, that one. I can see, but Bentancur being the captain, I could just see it at the moment. Out of all of them, I think it will be one of those. I think it won't be Ben Davies. It won't be Ben Davies because he hardly plays. And whether he's going to stay, well, it looks like he is staying. So that's not the question to ask me on that one. But yeah, I think it's between those three. I think it's either Maddison, Bentancur, or Romero. I think those are the two, three. I think will be captain. But when you look at the front line, it just looks awful at the moment with the wingers at the moment. Obviously, you've got Brendan Johnson who can get in the right position to score. I think it was Downton Vida's system, I think, that got him in the right position to score. And but obviously, when he wants to take on his man, he can't do that. Alderbear tries, bless him, but can't get past his man. Mattis Tell is Mattis Tell. Yeoman Hook, obviously, he's not ready. Mikey Moore's gone off on loan to Rangers. So you're limited with a lot of options, not a lot of options, only Kudos. So really, in the transfer market, we need to start looking at wingers. But from what I'm hearing from people, that winger is Mattis Tell. That's the player. So this is the worry for me. This is the massive worry for me. And it's going to be interesting to see because obviously I think Sumenson's going to play in the game tomorrow against Newcastle, which is an interesting game because Newcastle have got their own problems with a certain striker that's gone haywire that wants to go to Liverpool. Isaac, obviously. So it's an interesting one to see what happens because obviously we've got this friendly tomorrow. And, this is another game where we need to, we need to see how they how things are going, progress is going in terms of getting ready for the new season. And it'll be interesting to see who he plays. Obviously, there is a problem with injuries in terms of the left back at the moment. Can we carry on the form in terms of defence? What is he going to do in attack? Because I think that attack is just weak at the moment. And we're going to have a problem in tight games. But one thing I'll say with that is that our set pieces are really coming along. So that's another optimism about him. And then again, like I said, I've not changed my thoughts on Thomas Frank. I still think he needs to prove himself. But at the moment, I can't complain at the moment. And but the worry for me is the attack. And I think that's what we need to see what he can do in that. But I think that's going to come down the line, way down the line, I think, for me at the moment. In this friendly against Newcastle. Newcastle got their own problems, obviously, with Rizak. And games at 11 o'clock in the morning, our time. I don't know when it is for other people. But it's going to be an interesting one. It might be an interesting. Oh yeah, good shout, Lisa. By the way, good shout, Lisa. By the way, I forgot that one. Vicario, but the question is Vicario going to be number one? That's the question. So if he is captain, he's got to be playing. I don't know if he'll be playing. That's the thing at the moment. But we have to wait and see. We'll find out in the friendly tomorrow against Newcastle. United. And that's pretty much it, folks, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a shorter show today because it is a Friday night. Your boy, Mr. Box Office, is a little bit tired. And hopefully I can do a show tomorrow, hopefully for you guys. Try and be a little bit more consistent. Just you see this guy talking. And like I said, Tottenham Hotspur got to try and get some player that can create the imagination for some of us fans, especially me at the moment, because I can't get excited with our attack at the moment. And listen, I'm respectful of us being defensive, our defense being really good. But the attack needs to improve. I need I need a maverick. I need somebody that's going to just do something off the cuff. Someone's going to just get me off my feet. And none of those players get me off my feet. I struggle. But Thomas Frank can do something to prove to me that he can get the best out of some of these players and make them better. And that might take time, unfortunately. But we'll have to wait and see. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to everybody who's watching. Thank you for staying in touch with the show and staying with me on this Saturday night. And big up to people who are celebrating Jamaican independence, by the way. Big up to everybody who's doing that. Enjoy your days, your weekend, the rest of your weekend. Might see me back tomorrow. And after the Newcastle game, where we'll see whether we've made any progress or anything new has come up in terms of seeing what we're seeing with Thomas Frank's new era ahead of us. Please leave your comments in the below about the show. Do you agree with me what I was saying, or do you disagree with me? And as always, big up to everybody who's watching. Big up to everybody who's contributed to the show. Big up to John Saigon, who says, I could see Vicario, but I don't like goalies as captain, to be honest. I rate Paulinho as captain, but he's only just come, so don't think that will happen. And big up to Lisa as well, who gave me the suggestion of Vicario as captain. But big up to everybody who's watching. Big up to Nikita. Big up to Scott M. Big up to Brian. Big up to everyone who's watching. Big up to E54. Big up to Hotspur Hood. Big up to DR Spurs 82. Big up to Sleepy Monica. Big up to everybody who's contributed to the show today. And as always, as we wrap up this show, like always, on a day where we show our respect to a man that gave us a loyalty of 10 years at Tottenham and ended up his last season winning the Europa League and becoming a legend in some people's eyes, and in other people's eyes, someone that just loves a gentleman as well and respected as a captain of Tottenham Hotspur. And as we wrap up the show, you know how it goes. If you didn't know, get to know. Support your boy, Mr. Box Office. Subscribe and like. And come on, you Spurs. And we're out.